Thank you, Rajikantji, my dear friends, my friend Lairus, and all my new fresh faces which I am seeing here for the first time. It's a matter of great privilege for me to be here and talk a few things to you about Savitri. We'll start with a recitation of Sri Vidu's Gayatri Mantra, and then I would like to cover a few topics involving agenda, the Savitri Dev and an English subject also. Om Sat Satam Rupam Yogi Parasya Yanam Satye Om Yogi Parasya Yanam Satye Om Yogi Parasya Yanam Satye. Let us meditate on the most auspicious form of Savitri, on the light of the Supreme, which shall be luminous spiritual. In this mantra, one to a Deshpande, maybe in the early 1930s, the significant phrase is Varam Rupam, the auspicious form. The invocation is the auspicious form of Savitri, the Sun God, which is very significant, particularly in the context of the yogic work of Savitri and the Mother. Whatever has to happen in this creation, it has to happen, it must happen for the purposes of establishing this auspicious form. The material transformation is what is immediately indicated in this particular Gayatri Mantra. And it is on the basis of this mantra that we can perhaps enter into the spirit of Savitri Yoga and certainly into the spirit of Savitri. Savitri is the word which fixes this auspicious form, Varam Rupam. Word is the power of expression. In Sanskrit, particularly in the Vedic context, Vedic rhythm, time, we have the notation of word as Brahma. It is Brahma who will be fixed in this world, which also means that it is the establishment of Brahma himself in the material domain, in the material manifestation, in the physical manifestation. And that is what Savitri is there. She also addressed the sun word. The phrase which is used in one of the places is she is the sun word, world of God, Son himself, Savitri himself. And it is that word which has to grow. As I said, word in Vedic hymns means Brahma. And if you translate that thing in the later context, or the Upanishadic ideas, formulations, Brahma would means one who goes wide, who expands, who spreads everywhere, constant growth in every direction. Brahat, that is the quality of Brahma. In fact, the root for both is the same, of expansion, of vastness, of growth. Now, it is this Brahman which has to grow in the mortal world. It has to establish itself in its full splendor, grandeur, beauty, power, light, in all its aspects here in this mortal world. And therefore, we can also say that Savitri is Brahma Vardhini, one who makes Brahma grow in the material world, in the world of mortality also. That is the essential concept, if you want to call it a concept, essential truth, return of the spiritual formulation of Savitri's service. Now, Shri began writing Savitri long ago. Long ago, it could have been even during his Baroda days, maybe around 1895 to 2000, roughly. About that time. It could have been 1890 to 1991, about that time. It could have been there. But there is no written draft available of that period. The only earliest draft of Savitri which we had belongs to the earlier period, that is between 1916 and 1918. During those 2 years, we had the first available draft of Savitri. At that time, Savitri was hardly Savitri of its kind, obviously. It was essentially a tale and a vision based on the Mahabharata story of Savitri as one who brings back the soul of her husband from the god of death. That is the essential story which we have got in the Mahabharata. But I must also say that this story is a very powerful story. It has in it all the yogic elements to hold the entire spiritual and yogic power of Sri Aurobindo. Had the story not been that rich, that comprehensive, he would not have perhaps used this thing for revealing his spiritual revelations, for carrying his yogic work forward further through Savitri. So, the original story of Savitri is a very, very rich story. He calls it in the beginning a tale and a vision. Later on, he calls it a legend and a symbol. The mother says, it is he who made the vision a symbol. The vision, the traditional vision, it is he who made it a symbol. It is through that he is expressing all the spiritual and yogic achievements, and not only his, but of course all the mothers, and what is to come. We are given prophetic hints of the things which would come in the outer yogic process of the unfoldment or the divine manifestation in this creation. All those things are already present in Savitri. Of course, the mode of presentation is not like a creative thesis from 1, 2, 3, 4 developing in the form of a sequential argument. It is not that at all. It goes back and forth. It uses different contexts to reveal all the spiritual experiences. In the 1930s, when Shivadu was preparing the early drafts of Savitri, he used to write them in the night and read them to the mother next day morning. And mother said exactly those experiences she had in the night which were described in Savitri. Simultaneously, she was getting those experiences which she had crafted in the Savitri class earlier days. Now, this Savitri, well, let me go back again to the Arya period. He was writing every month in a great length, filling up the Arya issue of 70 pages month after month, simultaneously working on half-a-dozen books, like one, Veda, Secret Veda, Human Cycle. Simultaneously, he was working on all those books for 7 years. Later on, much later, when he was asked about his early writings, he said that not only for 7 years, but had he continued even for 70 years writing Arya, he would not have exhausted his knowledge. He has given in the Arya hardly 10% of what he had at that time. Now, during those hectic days of writing in the Arya, he did find, so to say, time to prepare the first draft of Savitri. This ran to roughly 1,000 lines. It was a short draft of just 1,000 lines. But already in the draft, most of the yogic elements were present. I will give you a small example of that early draft. He speaks of the boon received by Savitri from the divine. She comes back to the earth carrying the soul of Satyavan, and immediately following her coming down from heaven to the earth appear the figures of Krishna and Kali. They are also descending down immediately, simultaneously, Krishna and Kali following Savitri. Krishna, the Anandamaya Purusha, Kali, the divine dynamism, who will be the executive power to carry out the work of manifestation in this creation. In the will of Krishna. She will do, Kali will work in the will of Krishna and make the manifestation here possible. So that element is already present in the very first drafts of 1916 to 1918, just 1,000 lines roughly. Then later on, he had to keep it aside for a long time. He started taking up this theme early in the 1930s, and he made a number of drafts. In one place he says that he had made at least 8 or 10 drafts of the early parts of Savitri. And he also says that he wanted to bring through his poetry the highest possible power of the word of expression here down. And his whole attempt was to bring down that highest possible word into the expression in Savitri. And he says that I have used Savitri as a means of my ascension. Well, ascension does not mean that he was beautifully ascending. He had already all the realizations. There was no question of his having realizations. In fact, he had the realization of supermind, the possibilities which open out with the descent of supermind into her consciousness. He had already the realization as early as 1910, 1911. The very early stages itself. In fact, even a little earlier than that, in 1908, around 1st January 1908, he had one of the most remarkable spiritual experiences of passive Brahman. He got what he calls silent mind in Baroda. He sat with Lily for 3 days around 1st January 1908, and he received the silent mind, which became a permanent part of his yogic realizations. Within few months, when he was in Alipurze, he had another great, tremendous realization of the active Brahman. Passive Brahman in January, active Brahman maybe around July, August in Alipurze, when I was in jail at that time. There he saw Vasudeva present everywhere, in the tree, flowers, in the jailer, in the prisoner's chair, in the boat, in the church, everywhere he saw none but Vasudeva. Now these two experiences are the foundational experiences in spiritual beginning. From that point onward, then the yoga proceeds further. In fact, to get even one of these experiences, yogis spend lives to have the experience of passive Brahman or the experience of active Brahman. They spend lives and very rarely they come to that stage. If you get the experience of only the passive Brahman, what you would call silent mind, the danger is that you see only Brahman inactive, not in the dynamism of life here, and therefore you start saying that this world is an illusion, mithya, forget about this world and go elsewhere, because this is an illusion. So if you remain confined in spiritual realization only to the passive Brahman, you fall into the trap of illusion, mithya. In an active Brahman, which complements that thing, you see the possibility of Brahman working in this material creation also. So that became the foundation of his yogic pursuit as early as 1908. And again, when he was in jail, he had another very major, I will not say exactly realization, he had taken a very major step. The spirit of Vivekananda would visit him in jail almost for a fortnight and showed him up in the sky a golden star. He says, look at the star in the sky, the golden star. And later on he said that it is the supermind which was shown to me by Vivekananda, the stars. And that became the real starting point of his yogic sadhana from that point onward. So I would say that the possibility of supermind working in his creation had come to him as early as 1911 at that time. He knew that this is what must happen here in his creation. And later on, then of course, all those things started happening. As far as he was concerned as an individual, he knew what supermind is. Not only that, in the course of his yogic pursuit, he could establish supermind in his physical. He had attained as an individual the siddhi of the supermind in the physical, and he has described that thing in a couple of places in Savitri itself. The supermind is already present there, but his main thrust, main emphasis was, in fact, in one of his letters he said that I don't want supermind for myself. It is not necessary, which means that he already has that thing. So it's not a question of he is wanting the supermind. It is already there. What he wanted was supermind for the collective transformation in this world. The problem which he was facing in the collective context was the problem of the mrityu loka. On the earth there is death. Earth is called the world of death, mrityu loka. And it is here that this supermind must manifest itself in the physical. That became the central point of his later yogic pursuit. More and more emphasis was given from the point of view of collective realization of the possibility of supermind in the physical. And it is that sort of a thing which we have here in a number of places described in Savitri. His brain was wrapped with overwhelming light. This is like, for instance, that his brain was wrapped with overwhelming light. So mind has already occupied his mind. And later on he says, mind, heart, soul, limbs, everywhere supermind is present. It had to go and now operate in its vast creation. These things are already present in Savitri. Now the question was, why or what was the difficulty of the general or the collective manifestation of supermind? The collective difficulty is of the universal power of death, which is there as a ruling king, who is there ruling king in this creation. And it is he who stands across the path of divine event. He who is pouring mind of mind, alone in the unlit temple of eternity, lays stress in a wise upon silence and mass. It is death who is standing across the path of divine event. The divine event is the possibility of a new creation, of transformation, and the obstacle there is the presence of death. And unless that goes away, things cannot move forward. Therefore, the whole emphasis is now to tackle death. How to remove death from this creation. And that is summarized very well in one single line at the end of the very first canto of Savitri. This was the day when Satyavan must die. The death of Satyavan has been asserted, has been emphasized, has become inevitable if a new manifestation has to take place. And therefore, throughout Savitri you have all descriptions in a direct or indirect way connected with this particular line, that it is death which must go away, Satyavan must die, Satyavan must die, Satyavan must die, everywhere. Because it is in that death there is a possibility of the divine power meeting death directly, face to face. Without that, she cannot interact with him and facing death. Therefore, Savitri has to see the death of her husband, meet death, and eventually conquer death. So that one was standing across the path of management is eliminated, and then the divine boon is brought down upon the earth. Now, this is the broad outline, so to say, of Savitri. Let me go into a few specific details depending upon how much we can cover. Savitri is essentially a biography, autobiography, spiritual autobiography. It is not only an autobiography, it is a double autobiography, simultaneously of Shevanu and the mother. Now, if you see the nature of the autobiography, then you will immediately identify mother and Shevanu as being described in Savitri. But in the yogic sense, it is the description of the two ruling powers in this creation, what you call presence and power, soul and nature, being and Shakti, Ishvara, Ishwari. It is they who are playing on the play here. Now, presence or Ishvara or Shakti or whatever you call them in that line, you have first the work of the presence of the being or the soul of Ashwapati, to be more specific in the context of Savitri. In the other, you have got the work of Shakti, Savitri or Ishwari, whatever you call that thing. So you have roughly half of division in Savitri. The first half essentially devoted to the work of Purusha, and the second half the work of Shakti, Savitri, consider pictures. Now, the work of Purusha is described in Savitri in 24 candles, roughly running to 12,000 lines. The work of Shakti is described in the other half of 25 candles, again roughly 12,000 lines. Both of them are in their sense balanced equally. Without the work of Purusha, the work of Shakti cannot begin, cannot operate, cannot happen. Therefore, we see the great importance of the description of Ashwapati's sadhana, Ashwapati's yoga tapasya, of his spiritual realizations in the first part of Savitri, Shiva Savitri. He comes here as a delegate from eternity. He comes as a avatar. It is specifically, very explicitly, distinctly mentioned in the very opening pages of Canto 3 of Savitri. He comes as eternity's delegate, as an avatar, Ashwapati. And he assumes the human body, he does yogic tapasya and climbs, prays about plane, reaches all the way, goes all the way up to the transcendental, and there he meets the divine Shakti, the supreme divine mother, and there he prays to her to please take human birth, because only through your human birth that the problem of mortality can be tackled, can be handled, can be removed. So he pursues her, he compels her to take the human birth, and she obliges. She comes here as his daughter, and she comes fully conscious of her divinity. Even at her birth, all sons were conscient in her body. That is what we have got a line from Savitri. All the sons were conscient in her body at the time of birth itself. Even the physical was sort of going with the supramental sons at that time. They had to come out and work in this creation. She comes here, and then of course she does the Shakti Yoga to house in her soul the power of divine Shakti herself. As a human being she has come, as a human person she has come, she has assumed all the human limitations and therefore she must house in her soul the divine Shakti herself. It is only when the divine Shakti is housed in her soul, when it is filled with it, that she can face death and conquer it. Without that, it is not possible. In other words, she has to do the Shakti Yoga or the Yoga for the conquest of death, and then she is ready to face Yama, the divine antagonist who is standing across the path of divine. I will call him still a divine antagonist because there is a sort of a purpose also behind that formation of the divine opposing himself in a certain manner. Now, Ashwapati, as I said, is essentially the one who is doing the tapasya in order to bring down divine power upon earth. What one of God is, he represents the will of the Supreme in this creation to establish the truth in this creation. It is the will of the Supreme which has to be fixed here. It comes with the will, sankalpa, this must happen. It is for that purpose we take the birth. Sankalpa is made and it comes here and it forms up the sankalpa for the purposes of this new manifestation. It is that will which becomes brighter and brighter in the course of his sadhana till he reaches Divine Mother who can come and respond to his prayer. The other part, Savitri, is divine action. Basically, the division of Savitri is between Sankalpa, the first half, and Karya, the second half. She is the one who will act in her dynamism. It is she who will work out the details of manifestation after removing the obstacle which is there on the path of the divine event. That is her work, basically. Divine will and divine action. These are the two aspects which you find in Savitri. In other words, again going back, it is Ishvara, Ishwari, Purusha, Prakriti. They represent will and action simultaneously in the yogic terminology. And when they come together, then a new possibility can open out. That is what Savitri will do, basically. Savitri has to do yoga, as I told you, because she has to house the divine power in her soul. She is set on the path of doing yoga in most wonderful circumstances. Savitri goes from place to place in the quest of her life's partner. She is a radiant princess, dazzling, powerful, imposing, royal, glowing, that no hero warrior can come forward to come hand in marriage. And therefore her father tells her, Savitri, you have come of age and it is necessary for you now to find your own life partner. You are free to do that. You can go abroad, go to different places and find a suitable one who would feel as a fit partner for your life. She travels for several months, maybe approximately 2 years, from place to place, going from kingdom to kingdom, from temple to temple, pilgrim to pilgrim centers, constantly moving, but nowhere she finds anyone suitable for her soul. But then she arrives at a place, a destined place, and she arrives at a destined place at a destined hour. So there is a destined place and a destined hour. She has come here riding her golden chariot. Hey Maratha, she riding the golden chariot, traveling from place to place. She has come to the destined place. And on that very day, when she is at a particular place there, the destined place, Satyavan happens to go along that path, along that path, to do his routine daily work, to collect flowers, to whatever is required for daily activities, because he stays in the hermitage in the company of the rishis, so he has to serve them also. So he goes to his daily work for it, and he happens to be there, and Savitri also comes from the other side. In the beginning, Savitri, who had sort of ignored him, and Satyavan also had not have paid any attention, because after all, people come and go on the way like that, nothing would have happened. But something happened suddenly, and the poet says, God touched in time. God touched in time. Savitri is coming from one side, Satyavan is coming side. They look into each other, and immediately they recognize their ancient identity, the identity which they have been carrying through lives, not for the first time. Life after life, they have been carrying that identity. She immediately recognized that and she falls. And then the deed is done. Matter is settled. Savitri goes back to her father's place, Mathura. But even before she arrives at the palace, she sees that her parents are in the company of Sage Narad. He is already sitting there in the palace hall. He is singing for an hour, one full hour. He is chanting the glories of the new birth to her parents. Why inspiration is there, what the divine wants to hear, how the sweetness will come into existence. He sings the glory of his Vishnu, which is now going to manifest itself in his creation. He is singing to his parents, to her parents, that thing. And Savitri comes there. He casts his look, Narad casts his look on Savitri and makes inquiries, sort of innocently asks her father, asks Ashwati, who is this bride who comes here, golden, bright, shining, crossing the lustrous floor of the palace? And then Ashwati tells the entire purpose, the whole background, why she had gone abroad in search of a life's partner, that she is coming back here, and that we are also here in most auspicious moment. It means that something wonderful must have happened. She must have discovered her life's partner, and she is coming back to tell us something about it. And Savitri then tells that she had met in the Salva forest her future husband, Satyavan. The moment she utters the name Satyavan, Narad rings a note of alarm. Not immediately in Shivandu Savitri, but in the story of Mahabharata, he says, Aho vat mahat papam, what Savitri has done is very calamitous, not desirable. He tells her parents, Savitri has not chosen a proper one. Then he is persuaded to tell what the problem is, why it is papam, why it is calamitous. And then he says that 1 year after marriage, everyone is going to die. his death is fixed. He will die 1 year after marriage. Savitri's mother is definitely perturbed. She would not like her daughter to become a widow 1 year after marriage, and she tells her Savitri, "You have chosen a wrong person. Somebody has come from the opposite world to deceive you. Please go again and find some other person who may be less fortunate, but at least live a long life and will live happily." And Savitri says, "I'm sorry, I have fixed my soul on him. I cannot change it at all." She says that I know now why I have come here. I know now who he is. I know now who I am. The power of love between Satyavan and Savitri had awoken in her. Immediately the knowledge which was there in her soul. I know now, after the discovery of love, the power of love has told her who she is, who Satyavan is, and in the power of love she said that maybe it is for 1 year that we will live, but I know now how to die also with him. I know now how to even change that fate that he was possessed. I know how to change his fate also. Now, she has not done any yoga so far, but it is the power of love, the intensity of love, which gives her not only knowledge, but the strength to assert that she can change fate also. But Nara's statement that Satyavan is going to die 1 year after marriage sets Savitri on the path of yoga. It becomes the initiation for Savitri to do yoga. In other words, Narad comes here to give initiation to Savitri, yogic initiation to Savitri, to give diksha to Savitri. Savitri, you have discovered love. That is not enough. You have to also discover death. You have come for that. Love's discovery is not sufficient for you. You have to discover death also. Meet death also. And therefore, you say in those many words, but this is what eventually it amounts to. That you have to yoga. Savitri is set on the path of yoga. And in the course of her yogic development, which moves very rapidly with the speed of the divine himself. What one would call, in terms of physics, the tachyonic speed greater than the speed of light. It moves swiftly that her yoga. And she is guided at every significant step in her yoga by the divine Shakti herself, Supreme Transcendent Shakti. She constantly, Savitri, now you do this, now you do this, now you do this, now you do this. And Savitri is so open to receive the command of divine Shakti, she implicitly follows whatever command she gives. And therefore, she moves most rapidly on the yogic path. And eventually, the entire Mahakundalini is housed in her soul. And now Savitri is ready to face death. Eventually, of course, death occurs in the forest. It is important to recognize why death should occur in the forest. Why death should occur when nobody is present there around. It does not occur in a house. Satyavan is to die, alright, but why in a lonely forest under a tree when there is nobody around at all? He dies in a lonely forest. There are no humans around at all. His parents are not there, Satyavan's parents are not there around. The rishis or the hermitage or the ashram are there around. Nobody is there around. She has to be alone, absolutely alone, to meet death. So that in the awful battle There is no intervention, no interference at all of any kind from the human elements. The battle is entirely between the divine immortal Savitri and death, who is there here. And no human element should be present, can be present here. Not even the gods can help her. They are watching the whole scene from above. The battle is there between Savitri and death. They are watching from above. In fact, death himself had watched early in the morning Savitri offering worship to Durga, goddess Durga, who gives the protection against all evil, all calamity. She has sought the protection from goddess Durga because he will fight Yama, and she is there on the battlefield. But she also cannot help. It is Savitri soul alone who can do that thing. Savitri eventually vanquishes death, Yama, and he tries to retreat into hell. But hell says, sorry, I cannot take you. There is no, I cannot take you. Seeing the power of Savitri standing in front of him, hell, he refuses to, you refuse to tell Yama. Yama tries to take refuge in the darkness of the night. No, mind also says, sorry, I cannot give you any refuge at all. And finally, death goes back into the world from which it had come. Death, behind Shiva Savitri, as the embodied nothingness, the void, Shunya, who had taken a certain form for a certain purpose to confront Savitri. Savitri is there in a physical form, embodied void is therefore in a physical form facing Savitri. So void, Shunya, where nothing exists of the divine, it is that Shunya, that void, which has taken a physical form in the nature of death and is meeting Savitri. Savitri vanquishes death. He goes back into the void. He disappears into the void. And following Savitri through the void, she reaches the transcendental world, the supreme. And there she says, she sees this embodied nothingness who she had faced a while ago, transformed again into a glorious God. After all, it was the Supreme Himself who had taken that form in the void, and it is that Supreme she sees again in the transcendent over there. And Savitri is offered good. Savitri, you have done something wonderful, something which had never been done in the entire spiritual history. You have come to the transcendental, to the world of immortality, of great by cutting a door through the void. Shunyasya Dwaraha. You have put a door in the void and come here. You are welcome. You stay here. Everything is available for you. You and your husband Satyavan, we can stay here in God's felicity forever. And your life will be absolutely happy all the while. But Savitri says, I am sorry, I am not come here to stay. I don't need your heaven. Your heaven was native to me. I am not come here to gain back those heavens. What I want is that heaven, not for myself, but for the earth. I want all those things that are in heaven for the earth. And I want that thing with the soul of Satyavan. So that earth flourishes in your glories, the glories of the Supreme, in the glories of heaven, the earth progresses, flourishes, expands, grows constantly. So I want that. Savitri is that one. And she says, what you are asking has been my will, my desire. You have identified your will, my will, and therefore I am glad that you are asking this to, and therefore he says, yes, you go back to the earth, and there should be the divine life on earth. With that word, she comes back here, and she is now ready for the preparation of the new birth. When she is bringing Satyavan back